For many years, Cedar Point has been the undisputed coaster capital of the world. However, in 2022, a new park opened that I think takes that record from Cedar Point as the world's greatest collection of coasters. Let's dive into this. Cedar Point versus the newcomer best roller coaster collection in the world, Peppa Pig theme park in Winter Haven, Florida.
Why are oranges called oranges, but an apple is not called red? Oh my goodness. I can't take it anymore. Eating a burger with no honey mustard. 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 Eating a burger with no honey mustard.
For this video, I'm going to go through the coaster collections of each park and give it a point value based on the value of the coasters. So, let's start with Cedar Point. To begin, there are 5 coasters at Cedar Point that will be considered as family or kids coasters. These coasters don't provide much of a thrill and are intended for families and younger kids. These coasters are Wild Mouse, Cedar Creek Mine Ride, Wilderness Run, Woodstock Express, and Valraven. Since these coasters are intended for younger children, they're each only going to earn Cedar Point half a point. This means that for Cedar Point's collection of family coasters, they will earn 2.5 points. Now, let's go down Cedar Point's list of roller coasters in alphabetical order. Number 1 is Blue Streak. This coaster is just okay. Although, since it's blue, which is a very good color, I think that this coaster deserves some recognition. However, it did kill me as I flew out of the seat when the lap bar started working. So, I think that although it does have a great color scheme, but it did kill me, so I think I can only give this 1 point. That takes Cedar Point total to 3.5. Another one is Corkscrew. This coaster is also blue, so it does get credit for having the best color, which is blue. However, Corkscrew is extremely smooth, which is another plus, and the layout is extremely creative. Like, whoever thought about putting 2 corkscrews right in a row? Genius. It's just genius. Arrow has This is the epitome of Arrow's creative design right here in Corkscrew. And this coaster is honestly in my top 5 worldwide. And that's why I'm going to have to give Corkscrew 3 points. I mean, it's blue, it's smooth, it's creative. Like, what's not to like about Corkscrew? That means that Cedar Point will now have 6.5 points after Corkscrew. So, what's next? How about Gatekeeper? Gatekeeper is a wing coaster, which I think is dumb. Like, seriously. You already have coasters where the cars are on top and under. Why do you need the cars to be on the side? It's pointless. And if you're gonna have a coaster go over your front gate, maybe don't make it blue. Like, it blends into the sky. Like, normally I love blue. Like, blue is such a good color, but I mean, come on. Do you really have to make it like blend in the sky like that? Like, honestly, like normally I would praise a blue coaster, but I mean, this is not the correct use of blue. It's just disrespecting the amazing color that blue is by making it blend in with the sky and just making the blue so that it just doesn't stand out by being such an amazing color. So that's why I'm going to have to give Gatekeeper only half a point. With Gatekeeper earning half a point, that leaves Cedar Point at 7 points so far. Let's take a look at Gemini. Gemini is a racing coaster. It's another just amazingly creative design from Arrow. Just Arrow is just so creative and like I mean, honestly, I wish more manufacturers nowadays use hand bent track like Arrow. Like who doesn't like straight lines, you know? Like I ride these nowadays, those RMCs and these B&Ms, and I just think, man, I wish this coaster had more straight lines. And that's why Gemini is going to get 3 points. Plus, it even has one half of it that's blue. So, you know, you throw some blue in there. That's why it's getting 3 points for Gemini. The next coaster we're going to talk about is Iron Dragon. This coaster is boring. It's only getting half a point. So that leaves Cedar Point with 7.5 points. Next coaster, Magnum XL 200. Again, gotta love the straight lines, you know. It's red though, and red is just not a good color. Man, I really wish this coaster would blue, because otherwise it'd be like my number one. But since it's red, it's only gonna get 2 points for that. So that will leave Cedar Point with 9.5. Maverick. This is another red one. Man, I really wish Cedar Point wouldn't have ruined this coaster by making it red. Like, I think this coaster is extremely rough. It's boring. It's not intense at all. There's no airtime. Honestly, one of the worst coasters I've ever ridden. And I think if the track was blue, all of that would be different. You know, because I think with blue track, the coaster just gets like instantly smoother, instantly more intense, instantly has more force, has more airtime. But Maverick is just not good because it's red. So, I mean, honestly, Cedar Point, you want to have another elite coaster on your hands. Just repaint this blue, and then you're good to go. So that's gonna earn them 1 point for Maverick, I think. So that'll leave Cedar Point with 10.5 points so far. So now next we're gonna talk about Millennium Force. This one's blue. Blue, you know, it's blue. I don't really have much to say about it other than it's blue. It's pretty forstless. I think that's gonna earn it 1 point. Uh, Raptor, green. Green is an okay color. You know, it's not blue, but it's not quite as bad as red is. But Raptor, I just wish it was more intense. You know, I mean, it's kind of like honestly, it's almost a family coaster. Like I almost count it with the family coasters. It's just it needs to be a lot more intense. I think, especially like that ending helix. There's like no G force on it at all. Then let's see here, Rougarou. Honestly, this coaster is amazing. Super smooth. There's no head banging at all. Man, I love this coaster. That's gonna be a 3 point coaster right there for Rougarou. Honestly, smoothest coaster I've ever ridden. But last but not least, we're here to talk about the absolute worst coaster at Cedar Point, the absolute hunk of garbage that is Steel Vengeance. I don't I can't even talk about this coaster without getting angry. It is so bad. They had to take a masterpiece, a super smooth, amazing wooden coaster in Mean Street and just ruin it for this piece of garbage coaster. Seriously, there's no airtime on the whole ride. And it's just forceless. There's no airtime. I mean, and it's red, for goodness sake. Come on! What I don't even know what Cedar Point was thinking when they built this roller coaster to build a red coaster with no airtime. It's terrible. I don't understand what the point of even having this coaster is. It's just it's just so bad. It's like I mean it just I don't even know what to say about this. You should have hired Aero Development to do this rework and not that piece of garbage company RMC. Like this coaster needs more straight lines. Just there's no straight lines on the whole ride. Like that's not good. Coasters need straight lines to be good coasters. Everyone knows that. Like seriously, honestly. But so our final point total for Cedar Point is going to be, after points subtracted for how terrible Steel Vengeance is, final point total for Cedar Point is going to be negative 999,987 points. Okay? Those are the points. That's how bad Steel Vengeance is. Okay? So, let's move on to talk about our new park that is going to overtake Cedar Point. This new park is the Peppa Pig theme park in Florida. It only has one roller coaster, so we're going to talk about it in detail. This roller coaster is, do I dare say the name of the greatest roller coaster on the planet? Daddy Pig's roller coaster. Daddy Pig's roller coaster is something that has never been seen before. I mean, seriously, who ever thought of taking a kiddie coaster with one helix and adding a second helix to it? I mean, seriously, it's amazing. But let's walk through the layout of the ride. The ride starts with a 437-foot tall lift hill and then takes you through an incredibly intense helix that features up to 67 G-force. You then go through a small turn and then into the greatest launch on the planet. This launch has incredible acceleration. It feels like you go from 0 to 170 in less than a second. And it makes sense that that's what it feels like, as it does take you to that, as this is the world's fastest coaster. After going through the launch, you go into this second helix, which is the tallest point on the ride, going at up to 679 feet tall up the helix. Now, this second helix is truly amazing. You will not find any other element like it out there in the world, as it pulls negative 73 negative g-force, 88,000 lateral g-force, and up to 3,000 positive g-force. It's simply amazing, and I have to recommend you guys to ride this coaster, as it is the most intense, most amazing, greatest coaster on the planet, and it will be earning Peppa Pig theme park 1 gazillion points. That's not even a real number. That's how good this coaster is. No real number can even define how amazing Daddy Pig's roller coaster is. So that's why it's going to be however many points Cedar Point had. I don't even remember. It was so low against this amazing 1 gazillion points park. I think we can tell what the greatest park in the world is, and it's Daddy Pig's, I mean, Peppa Pig's park. Thanks guys for watching my 2023 April Fool's video. Obviously, everything in this video was a joke, and nothing of this was meant to be taken seriously. Um, this was all done in one take, so I appreciate you sticking through it. And just make sure like the video and subscribe to the channel if you found this funny. As always, see you in the next one. ZZ Coasters signing off.